Welcome back to Quick Theological Thoughts. I'm Howard Fisher, and in this particular episode, I want to interact with George Carlin. He's a comedian who goes on a rant about how the Christian God, or God, maybe not the Christian God, but God really tried to believe in God and doesn't believe in God. And he's going to list some reasons as to why he doesn't believe in God. And so let's take a look. We'll just go point by point here.
When it comes to believing in God, I really tried.
So when it comes to believing in God, he really tried. He really tried. Really? Did he really? People are religious and they believe in all kinds of things. And can man work up within himself to believe in the true God? Well, certain presuppositions there that we've talked about before.
Really tried. I tried to believe that there is a God who created each of us in his own image and likeness, loves us very much, and keeps a close eye on things. I really tried.
Again, he really tried. He tried to believe in a God that we're made in his image. Did he?
Tried to believe that, but I got to tell you, the longer you live, the more you look around, the more you realize something is fucked up. Something is wrong here.
All right. You're going to have to excuse the language on this, and I apologize. But I don't know how to edit all that out. But anyway, something's wrong. By what standard is something wrong? In his world, where does this standard come from? Oh, he believes in an ultimate standard. So wouldn't that be God? Well, where's that ultimate standard come from? Oh, it's within himself. So he must be God.
War, disease, death, destruction, hunger, filth, poverty, torture, crime, corruption, and the ice capades.
Okay, so that's the usual typical atheistic argument. How does he know how does he know any of this is wrong? Where does this come from? Where does he get to be the judge of this? Where's the standard here? Corruption, starvation, world problems, what problems? Things are just the way they are. So he is believing in God on some level in order to make the statement that he doesn't believe in God, right? Even if that God happens to be him. It's called idolatry.
Something is definitely wrong. This is not good work. If this is the best God can do, I am not impressed.
So who's the standard? It comes right out and says it. I am not impressed. If he had the foggiest idea of what God, the true God, is doing, he wouldn't be able to say any of this, right?
Results like these do not belong on the resume of a supreme being.
Results like what? People like him are always arguing free will in order to show God can't be God unless he creates creatures that do exactly nothing but good. I thought the epitome of man's argument is that we have an autonomous free will. So if God created a world without an autonomous free will, where he just creates creatures who just do good things, I don't know. These people want their cake and they want to eat it, right?
This is the kind of shit you'd expect from an office temp with a bad attitude. And just between you and me, in any decently run universe, this guy would have been out on his all-powerful ass a long time ago.
And why? What if he has a purpose in the evil that takes place? See, a lot of Christians don't know how to respond to this. I've got a friend who I've been interacting with recently who just absolutely does not know what to do with this. In fact, he's actually more of a theologically liberal Christian. I don't even think he's that, but he makes the exact same arguments. And so my question to him was, well, how do you respond to George Carlin? He doesn't have one. Why? Well, because he's making the same arguments, because he doesn't have a God. He does not have the Christian God of Scripture, for sure.
And by the way, I say this guy because I firmly believe, looking at these results, that if there is a God, it has to be a man. No woman could or would ever fuck things up like this.
The first person that sinned was Eve. It's like, hello? It's funny. I get it. You know, we don't want to blame the woman. We blame men, and that's funny. But this is as bad as Lewis Black saying, if you want to know what Jews believed about the creation and the meaning of Genesis 1 and 2, you know, we're right here. That's Jesus not Jewish enough for you? Jesus was actually a believer. Wouldn't he be more reliable? Anyway, let me move on.
So, if there is a God, if there is, I think most...
If. So again, he's sitting in judgment as to whether this God could even exist because he's God. If God exists. No. God exists. That's how you're able to talk. That's how you're able to make these judgments. That's how you're able to actually think and attempt to be rational. What you're not doing is taking into account your own sin, corrupting your reasoning, and that's why you don't understand why the world is the way it is.
Reasonable people might agree that he's at least incompetent and maybe, just maybe, doesn't give a shit.
That's the kind of God that natural man wants. Again, does he believe in free will or not? Right? So his God, who makes man autonomously free and free willing, all of a sudden is incompetent or really just doesn't give a darn. And so he's off in this, some other galaxies with his toes in the sand, basking in the sun. Right? Where do you get this? Oh, because he's God.
Doesn't give a shit, which I admire in a person and which would explain a lot of these bad results.
So which is it? He admires him, he doesn't admire him.
So rather than be just another mindless religious robot, mindlessly and aimlessly...
So mindless religious robot, he goes on and basically makes the argument he's going to judge God because he's not a mindless robot. But he's judging God for not making him a mindless robot who only does good. Okay. How about the biblical God who is able to create a man, who's able to ordain all things, and think about this, the cross. If you want, again, I know we've talked about this before, but if you want the ultimate example of God ordaining evil and using it to glorify himself, it's the cross. It's the message of the cross. Jesus, right? Jesus went to the cross, was murdered by men, evil men, and they will be judged for their intentions, their evil intentions, and God's intentions in the same event, the cross. His intentions is to save the world. For God so loved the world that he did what? That he gave his only son. In verse 17, he sent his son into the world not to condemn it, but to save it. So in one action, in the cross, evil men meant evil. God, in the same act, meant something good. Because God can do that. How? Because he's God. So anyway, that's my quick theological thought for the day. George Carlin, you're wrong. But he's got a lot of insight in a lot of things, but at this point, he's just plain wrong. God bless. Be good.